Ooh, the most above average podcast in the galaxy.
Turn the light off, like your memory
Before we start today's podcast, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you. The most above average podcast in the galaxy is not sponsored by anyone. Everything that you see and hear is paid for directly by us. We do, however, have affiliate links, and the money that comes in from those affiliates does help pay for us to have more hosting platforms, better equipment so you can hear us better, so you can see us better. The money that comes in from that is just icing on the cake. We do this out of the pure love of just chit-chatting with each other and bringing on guests. If you would like for the show to continue, we ask you to support the ones that support us. Again, all the links are in the bio. And thank you, and we hope you enjoy. And we are back, coming from my backyard. I'm doing the best I can to keep some of this road noise away. They built, oh my God. So we've been here like 5 years, and they just built one of those masonry walls on the other side of the freeway. And so for the last 4.5 years, I mean, a train could go by, cars could drive on the freeway, and you've never heard anything. And just in the last like 2 months, it's so loud because all the sound bounces off the new masonry wall on the other side, and it's so frustrating. You just hear everything, and it just drives me bonkers. But
yeah, that'd be annoying.
I was going to say I have a silly story. I have one of the most bizarre stories. And I say it's bizarre because when you're a parent, you always want the best for your kid, but you got to be realistic. You know, like everyone's like, oh, my child's so perfect. Like, I'm a realist. Like, I love my kid, but my kid does some stupid shit from time to time. Case in point, my wife got the phone call, and it was the most bizarre phone call that I've ever received from the school. You know, you're kind of expecting like, oh, you know, your kid got in trouble, or, you know, and she's like, oh, you know, I got this, you know, this special boy that I'm into. So I'm expecting, you know, one of those kind of ridiculous conversations. So I get a phone call from the school, and they're like, we have your daughter here, and she has contraband. I'm like, oh my God, what kind of contraband does an 11-year-old have? They're like, well, we saw her on the playground basically hiding behind a wall with a Ziploc bag with white stuff. And so when we apprehended her, she was taking a plastic spoon to it. And, you know, now my brain is just racing, expecting the worst of the worst. And come to find out, she smuggled a bag of sugar to school with a plastic spoon. And so apparently she was like, please don't tell my parents, don't tell my parents. I didn't even know how to react. Like, are you mad at something like this? But I had more questions than anything. So she gets home, and I'm standing there at the front of the house as she rides her bike up, and she's like, hey, like nothing happened. I'm like, motherfucker, you know the school called us. So what happened? And she was like, well, oh, man, I got in trouble. And I'm like, I know. Why did you bring a bag of sugar to school? Also, where did the bag of sugar come from? She was like, from our house. I'm like, where was I that you were able to get a Ziploc bag full of sugar? How much sugar did you take? She was like, 1 cup. And I'm like, you measured out 1 cup of sugar? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Again, where was I? Well, you were in your office working. Wow. Okay. Pretty sneaky. I didn't even know we had plastic spoons, but kudos for that, homie. I'm like, what was up with the sugar? She goes, I saw this video about how to make slime, and you used sugar and Dawn dish soap. And so I brought the sugar to school to make it in art class, but it didn't work, and so I got sad, so I just started eating the sugar with the spoon. I'm like, you're telling me that you smuggled sugar to school. Your plan didn't work, so you were emotionally eating sugar. I don't know what's worse, that you smuggled sugar to school or that you were emotionally eating it.
I mean,
To have the principal tell you that they apprehended your child with contraband, and then the contraband is sugar. Like, this is so stupid.
oh man, I
Man,
am
that
not
was-
a parent, so I don't deal with that. But
Dude, that
that is pretty good.
so I have a question for you.
Okay.
So keep in mind, I feel like you and I, for the most part, are on the same page for a lot of things. We have a couple key differences, but, for the most part, I feel like we're on board. Would you agree, you can disagree, but I don't think you will, would you agree that if you had a friend, and that friend was a female, and they were getting an update on their boob job, that as a friend, they should show you the old pair because they're just going to throw them away? I feel like that's a pretty fair thing. Like, hey, I'm getting a new boob job. I'm tossing these ones out because they're old and I need to upgrade. I feel like, as a friend, you should show them.
Yeah, I mean, but also, I don't really think guys and girls can be like friends. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, not with that attitude.
Like I think there's limits to a friendship, and I think seeing titties might be outside of that friendship limit.
I mean, I think you would be pushing the friendship envelope if you wanted to touch them. I would have totally settled for a picture.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I'm just saying, if it was me, I would show you my old titties.
but you're a dude.
Well, I'm just saying, hypothetically. Which this male generosity, I feel like, ties into my next bit of a thing. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong. You could disagree. But would you agree that men, as a whole, obviously there's going to be some outliers, as a whole, would you agree that men are much more forgiving than women? Maybe forgiving is not the right word. Understanding. Let's say we'll use the term understanding. And let me give you an example. There is an Instagram page dedicated to female mugshots. And all you see in the comments are very understanding gentlemen. There was a woman that was arrested, and it said that she got arrested for battery. And you saw 3,000 comments that all said that they could easily charge their car at their house. You got to charge your battery. It's understandable. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that post.
Yeah.
And I see why people want to charge their battery at her house.
Right. Right.
But-
I'm very understanding. I mean, I have solar. I could share, some electricity. You could charge your battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, to answer the question, I know this is more of a joke, but
No, I can't believe it.
I would say that guys are probably a little bit more understanding. Yeah.
Right. I mean, this goes. Social media jokes aside. This even goes to my own day-to-day situation. Like the other day, my wife was saying, as you know from previous episodes, she's pregnant and she's not feeling very well. She's got pretty aggressive morning sickness. I said, trying to be the gentleman that I am, do you want to touch my wiener? And she scoffed at me and said no. And I thought, when I feel down, it feels good to touch my wiener. I would touch her wiener.
Well, did you ask
I mean,
her?
I feel like I'm being a gentleman, and she was, just completely throwing away my kindness. Rude on her part.
Yeah, it's pretty rude. Especially, I'm sure you said it very politely.
I did. I even made it wiggle too. I showed up with theatrics.
Did you do the helicopter?
No, no, no. It's too cold for that. It's winter.
Ah,
Got like the little
is.
the door stopper dong 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 thing. That's as good as I got.
Well, hey, that's all. That's all you need. Door stopper.
Just the door stopper. Dong 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 dong. Anyway, all that ridiculousness aside, there is a serious matter at hand. That we will get into the fake guru thing, but I have a more serious one. I stood on the scale. I literally cannot stop growing. It is one of the most bizarre situations ever. My fasted weight this morning was 290.1 pounds. That's after I went to the bathroom.
291.
290.1.
Ah. That's
I
pretty
believe.
big, bud.
Yeah, I stood on the scale and I heard a little Asian lady go, "Oh, fat boy."
And I'm over here getting excited about 4 pounds.
The crazy thing is, like, I'm not even trying. I was talking to one of my other coaching friends this morning, and I was telling him about my dilemma. I'm like, this is what a bizarre problem to have. I'm like, dude, like, I can't stop growing. And he was like, cut your carbs. I'm like, my carbs are literally less than 150 grams for an entire day.
No.
Yeah. I'm basically only eating protein and fats. I'm just taking my prescription, literally my prescription amount of testosterone and my prescription amount of Anavar. Nothing else. There's no insulin. There's no IGF. There's no growth hormone. There's nothing. I cannot stop growing.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
good.
the
I think
craziest
that's a good
thing.
problem to have.
But it's weird because I'm to the point now. I'm like, I don't really know what to do to get the body to stop growing. My plan was not to be this big. Like, don't get me wrong, I look really good naked, but it wasn't my plan to just be, cracking sidewalks when I go everywhere. It's a lot of stress on the body to be this heavy. My ankles are throbbing all the time. I feel like a pregnant lady.
Your body's probably mad at you because you trimmed your beard.
That is also a possibility. It could be revolting. I didn't
Yeah, I
cut
don't know
it.
why
I
you did
trimmed
that.
it. I'm much more distinguished now. I'm a gentleman.
Listen, okay, that's like prepubescent beard right now from what it
Whoa.
was. Okay, you have this glorious man beard, and now we're like sophisticated kinda gentlemen. What the fuck?
As someone who has shaved since the age of 12, I take offense to that.
Good. I'm due for a little shape up myself, but I'm growing it out.
Dude, the weirdest thing about taking testosterone is how fast your fingernails grow. Like, I don't feel like my beard hair grows like extra fast because of it. Because even when I was doing the fertility stuff, it grew the same rate. My fingernails, holy crap, they don't stop. And it's the most frustrating thing. I'm so tired of trimming my nails 2 times a week.
So is that how you know the testosterone's good?
I guess. What a weird way to find out.
I know, huh? Oh yeah, my fingernails grow 3 times the rate they used to.
Yeah.
Fucking shit must be working.
Yeah. Yep. Bumped up the test. Got a manicure.
Manis and petties.
Yeah. Gay. Oh man.
All right.
So what's up
I
in
said
your
we
world?
can get on our topic. Since we both discussed this a little bit off camera,
Bum bum bum.
what fake guru stuff bothers you the most? Like in your world, because we see different stuff, but what do you see mostly with that?
I think the stuff that I see consistently that really just irks me is the fake business gurus. The ones that are like, okay, without going into the Grant Cardone issue with all the lawsuits that he's dealing with right now, that's a totally different thing. But the ones that are like, oh man, like, I guarantee I'm going to make you 10 grand a month. I don't know why the 10 grand a month thing is like such like a weird, enticing thing for so many people. Because in the big scheme of things, if you were scaling a business, $10,000 a month for a business that provides goods, not services, is not a lot of money. So if you sold, like the supplement company, if you sold product and you were doing 10 grand a month, most people probably like, oh, 10 grand a month, that's pretty good. As a business that provides goods and not a service, that's a pretty small amount. Now, if you were a sole proprietor, you were a painter or whatever like that, that's a different argument to have. But these people that are trying to say, oh, you can scale a business and, we're going to get you 20 clients, what they say, that we're going to get you 20 high ticket clients and guaranteed you're going to make 10 grand a month or your money back. Crock of shit. And they're like, oh, you got to buy this program. These people are making money by selling these programs, telling you how to make money, but they didn't actually build anything on them themselves. They don't have a successful business to show you, hey, I did this. This is why you should listen to me because I've done it with 7 other businesses. They're just foolish shit. They're just snakes. And that's got to be one of the most frustrating things of people being like, I'm going to help you make all this money. And I'm like, motherfucker, you need to help yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those things always come out as being scams anyway, right? I'm going to help you do all this, but you're going to pay me 90% of what you're doing. I'm going to make it sound like you're making a lot of money, but really you're just making me money.
Yeah, happens all the time. But that happens in every kind of industry too. Like some people know, I wrote a kid's book, and I really wanted to get it published, and I wanted to turn it into something. But every time I found a publisher that looked at the book and whatnot and was like, oh, okay, I see your vision for it. I see the long-term plan of what you want to do. They either wanted a gazillion dollars up front on my end to get things going, or they wanted anywhere between 70 and 80% of the revenue from it. And that oh my God, I don't want to say the name of the company, but it was a big name company. They were like, hey, we want you to sign this contract. We're going to take, it was a weird number. They wanted 73% of all the earnings for like something weird, like 5 years. And I had to, what was it? It was something really bizarre. Like the book had to profit several hundreds of thousands of dollars before I would earn any money. And any money that I accumulated on top of that was literally pennies. Like I would have to sell somewhere, it was something just astronomical, like 1 million copies of this book. And I would be lucky if I got like maybe $5,000 out of the deal. And I was like, no deal. And so I sat down with quite a few of these people, and they all had like a really similar business model. And I'm like, look, man, I get it. Like everyone's got to make money, but I'm not asking for you to do, everything for me. I already did everything. I wrote the book. I have all the artwork. Everything's done. I'm not even asking for marketing help. I just want someone to print the book.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That seems pretty shady to me. 73% or whatever he said about over X.
What a weird number, too.
Seems... Even 50% would be a joke. Like, wouldn't you? I would think you'd want the author to be successful and then keep coming to you for business.
Well, and so
like, oh, you're
I sat down.
And...
Yeah, and I had sat down with one of the bigwigs. And I said, look, I have big plans for this. I don't want this to just be a book. You know, it's an entire character that you're investing in. It's this whole premise. You know, there's multiple books that I already have most of the work done for. It's not finalized like the main book is, but there's other things that can, you know, branch off to. You know, we're talking about, you know, toys. You know, there's a lot of merch that can go with it. It can be converted into, you know, a kid's TV show. There's so many things that it can consistently morph into. And I was like, and I want to make sure that everything is established from the beginning with, whatchamacallit, you know, the royalties on back end things, you know, on who's handling the production for, you know, the stuffed animals. You know, are they going to have coloring books? Are we going to turn it into a TV show? Is it going to be, you know, like a YouTube series? You know, what is it going to blossom into? But I want to have everything ironed out before we even get started. And they were like, oh, no, that's something that we'll deal with later. I'm like, that's not something that you deal with later. You got to get that handled at the beginning, like, for both parties. You don't want it to be like, hey, you know, by the way, this is now the #1 show on Netflix and we're going to start making toys. And, oh, by the way, you don't have any rights to that. So I'm like, hard pass, homie. We're not doing that.
Yeah, no. I think that's how a lot of companies do that anyway. Yeah. With books and stories and movies. And, like, how many movies that have come out, you know, over our lifetime, do you think that actually happened to them, right?
Oh, I mean, just look at the music industry. Look at all those popular bands from the 80s. They're like, hey, Axl Rose, we're going to give you $1 million. All right, I'm going to drive a Trans Am. Wow. Fast forward. Hey, welcome to Denny's. Wow, I'll take your order.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, but yeah, the moral of that story is
that's interesting that you've
always
had
be prepared.
Yeah. Did you do anything with that book?
No. I mean, it's completely done. Like, all the artwork's done. It's all done. I just want to find the right team to bring it to life. That's the same thing. Like, I wrote a movie. Most people don't know that I wrote a fucking movie, but same issue is I don't want to sell it and then it just either just die in someone's office and it never turn into anything, because it's art. It's art that I want to bring to life, but I also don't want to sell it and lose the creative control over it. And then someone be like, oh, you know what? I love that, but let me change this. And then it changes the entire story. And then I'd be so just disappointed, because then my art is just, it's shit now.
Mm-hmm.
So one of these days I'll have the time. More than anything, it's not even a resource thing. It's a time thing. One of these days I will have the time to do all these great projects that I would love to finish.
All right. Well, when you do your movie, I want to be in it.
It's neat. It's a horror picture. The whole thing's based on revenge. It's really neat. It was a fun thing to write.
So what you're saying is I'm the main character, and I'm going to be a movie star.
Maybe.
All right. Well,
what if? I'm just saying, what if?
Hey,
What if the main character was gay? Could you handle it?
If he was gay?
If he was gay. Could you be famous and be gay? But he's not really gay. It's movie gay. It's like, you know, like going through the airport.
There are gay people.
Yeah, well, and just think about, like, going through the airport. Like, it's not gay. It's just TSA. It's the same thing, right?
Oh, shit. It's still gay.
No. It's still gay.
Are we allowed to say that anymore?
I mean, I can. Who's going to fire me?
That's true. It's very true. I'm curious about this movie now. I'm just learning all sorts of things. I've known you a long time.
Yep. I do all sorts of weird stuff, man.
How long have
Apparently
we
these
known
dogs
each other?
keep walking through all my cords. Worst office dogs ever.
How old are they?
Nah, they're good. They're good office dogs. They're just going stir crazy. There's just spoiled indoor dogs. Now we're outside because the cleaning lady's here, and so I'm not in my normal office. And now they're just like, oh my God, we're outside like animals. Oh.
Dramatic. Very dramatic.
They are super dramatic, man.
Yeah.
I don't know that many Australia. Oh, I knew. Okay. I was like, I'm missing something. Before we get into the fake guru thing, I gotta tell this story because I'm gonna forget. So, my wife and kid 100% enjoy the fruits of my labor. Now, that labor has a very wide spread because I feel like I'm a relatively talented individual. That talent is not limited to my coaching, my creative endeavors that I do with different characters and whatnot. But most recently, they have benefited from my outrageous good looks. I know what you're thinking. You're like, what a bizarre thing to say. Let me tell you the story, and you be the judge.
Okay.
So, because I'm a good husband, I spoil my wife. Ain't no doubt about it. So she tells me, I'm having a craving. I said, you name it, we're hopping in the car, let's go. She goes, Chick-fil-A. I'm like, fuck, I don't think there's one nearby. And so I Google it. No, there's not one nearby. It's literally a 42-minute drive. I said, all right, woman, get in the car, let's do this jam. Kid gets in the back. We hop in the American Range Rover, a.k.a. the Jeep Grand Cherokee, because that's how we roll, USA. So we book it on down to the Chick-fil-A. The lady takes the order. Now, I don't know if, for those of you who have not been to a Chick-fil-A, one, you are doing yourself a disservice. But they have way too many employees through their check and balance process on how you take your order and before you get your food. So this lady takes our order. Then there's another dude by himself in this weird like little plastic hut. And then you get to the window. Now, depending on the particular location, sometimes they even have an additional person or they have two windows that hand out food because that's just how busy sometimes they get. This particular one had one window. So I get there, I do the order with the lady, I pay. Move a couple feet forward, there's this individual by himself. He looked bored. Now, I understand that that job is probably extremely repetitive and can be boring at times. As someone who masked trauma with comedy, I feel that it was my obligation to make his day better because I'm generous. So I ask him, hey man, if I beat you at rock, paper, scissors, do I get my order for free? And he laughed and he said, you know, my manager is working the window right now. Ask her. And he kind of laughed it off like I wasn't going to do it. Now, if you know anything about me or how I got my couch from my house, you will know that, one, no is not an acceptable answer. Two, you don't know unless you ask. And that goes for anything. Because realistically, the worst thing they can say is no. So I say, I'll do you one better. I will do it in an accent. And the guy kind of gave me a weird look. And I was like, what if I did it in a British accent? Do you think she would be impressed? And he goes, probably not. And I was like, joke's on you because I'm going to do it anyway. And he goes, why don't you do an Australian accent? Well, creative roadblock, I don't have an Australian accent. And I don't think that I can generate a good Australian accent in the next 15 seconds it's going to take me to get there. So we get up to the window, and the lady does not look like she is a fun person. She's got a somber look. She doesn't look like she's down to party. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it. She looks kind of like a dud. And so she hands the drinks. She hands the food. And I'm like, you know what? You never know. You never know unless you ask. And so I say, by the way, I'm totally throwing this guy under the bus. And so I point back and I say, that gentleman back there said that if I beat you at rock, paper, scissors, you will double my order for free. And so she peeks her head out the window and looks at him. And I'm like, oh, I got this guy in trouble. And she goes, double it? No. But I might get you free ice cream. And I was like, oh, let's go, baby. And so she's like, first one to three? I was like, nah, just first one. Let's go. One single shot. Rock, paper, scissors. I lose. she realizes that I am above average with my good looks. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to give it to you anyway. So she leaves, comes back with an ice cream cone, and the ice cream is like double the size of the cone. And so she hands it to me. And because I'm generous, I gave it to the kid. I don't need ice cream. I'm already curvaceous. And so we leave, and I look at the wife, and she's just shaking her head like this was the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm like, first of all, a thank you is in order, because you have benefited from my good looks. I'm like the real life Zoolander. I did a blue steel, and she gave us ice cream. I'm like, that doesn't happen. I'm like real life Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a stretch, buddy.
So-
Chris Pratt, I don't know.
I mean, you know, I was gonna say Johnny Depp, but I don't think I'm on that level.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd
Maybe
want
one
to be on
day.
that level.
I don't know, man. As crazy as Amber Heard is, she's pretty hot.
Yeah, she still took a poopy allegedly on the bed, or is it now out? Do I have to say allegedly, or is it like a thing?
I think even if it didn't really happen, everybody associates her as the bed pooper. So I think she's just kind of branded as a bed pooper.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
But
celebrities, man, are pretty weird.
how, again, men are pretty understanding and forgiving. I think there's a lot of guys out there that'd be like, you know what? It was an accident.
No, that was no accident. And if you take a poopy on my bed, you're getting kicked out.
No deal, homie. No deal.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta plug this thing in. Zapping the battery. Okay, so that was a ridiculous story to tell you. So let's get back to the fake guru. Now, with the stuff that you see, what is some of the more frustrating ones?
I mean, it's just kind of widespread, man, in every, genre of the world. Like, we got, spiritual gurus, yoga teachers, powerlifting coaches, bodybuilding coaches.
The spiritual one's kind of a weird one, because how do you fake that?
I don't think it's so much faking it. I think it's people latching on to what they think is a trend to be something. So they're seeking this external validation for this thing that you really don't need to obtain other than be aware of it. Like, I just heard this thing today, which I really liked. I guess this lady had a near-death experience, and she said when she came out of it, or came back from dying, that when she recovered and everything, she was thinking about spirituality and how she used to be hyper-spiritual and always focused on, doing the next thing about trying to raise, her spiritual value, if you will. And she's like, all I did was laugh about it, because we are, like, there's no destination. We're already spiritual beings by being a soul here in a human body. So we're like, what are we chasing when we already are it? So one must be aware of it, because we already are. So that's where I think we find a lot of these, or at least my perspective of it, when I find or hear these people talk about how they know a certain thing and you should pay them for it because, they are all-knowing of said topic. It drives me nuts, because if I think something's cool, I'm going to share it. And if people find value in that, then they'll reciprocate, their feelings and emotions towards that, may it be paying me for my service in training or whatever it may be. It's an interesting landscape to see people hawking their so-called knowledge on things. And I get it, like everything, we need to have money to live. I understand that part. But when it comes to spiritualism or shamanism or any teachings of that nature, like charging for it seems kind of shitty. I don't know. This is my perspective on it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, like especially with those kind of people, you're a teacher, you're an educator, you're supposed to be empowering other people, and sure, again, you got to make money to live. That's just how things work. But to monetize every little thing just seems, I don't want to. It's definitely the opposite. At least that's what it seems. It seems to be the opposite of what you should be doing. Like, I remember, we used to live by an area where there was a lot of monks, and they were not money people. Like, if you had questions, they weren't going to be like, "Oh, I will answer your questions. Subscribe for $9.99 a month." Like, no, they just tell you. Because that was the passion. That's what they did. That's what they loved. Like, if people stop you and I on the street, or even send either one of us a message on social media, whatever, I've never been like, "Oh, I'll answer your question, but I'm going to send you an invoice." Like, no, like this is what I do. This is what I love. This, and I'm amazed. I'm flattered that I have that ability to help people. Like, of course, I'm going to help you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it on other episodes, but if I had like financially what I need to be comfortable and live the lifestyle that I would like to live, like I would train people for free. If I had a gym of my own and I had enough money to like take care of that, I'd make the gym for free, just so I can give back something I've been passionate about, which is just being fit and moving and lifting heavy shit.
Yep. What did you say earlier? You pick up heavy circles.
Yeah, I just pick up heavy circles and put them down. That actually is another thing that we could talk about. Is I see this so much, and this kind of can go back into our episode on making things your whole identity. It makes me so frustrated when I see people get so worked up about fitness things. So like I see it in bodybuilding and powerlifting and CrossFit and whatever the hell High Rocks is. I just see these things like people are so pumped and like think that because they lift fucking weights that you are like the top of the world, like you're just the best thing like that you can get. At the end of the day, we just lift heavy circles and put them back down. That's all we're doing. And it was actually funny when I was driving to Untamed yesterday or Sunday. I had this funny thought, and it makes me think. That's why I started saying like I just pick up heavy circles and put them down, was mainly from this. I was driving my truck and I'm heading down, into Sacramento, and I'm just thinking like kind of like a kid does, and I was thinking like, man, I'm driving this thing that has a bunch of mini explosions that propels me forward on rubber wheels with air in them, and I'm gonna go do something that I really like to do, which is pick up heavy circles and put them back down. It was just like taking it from a different lens, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, I know what an engine is, I know how an engine works, I understand that I'm driving a car and I know how I got there, but like taking a step back and breaking it down to like that simplistic kind of imaginary, thought process of like, this thing is having so many little mini explosions to get me to propel this vehicle forward on these rubber things filled with air, and I'm going to go pick up circles that weigh something repetitively to change my body. It was just an interesting thing that kind of led into these thoughts. But I think when you take a step back and not take this shit so serious and understand like it's not anything special to lift weights. I'm sorry. Like, you do cool stuff. I mean, you can pick up heavier circles. That's pretty cool. And you can see what your body's capable of. But it was just a funny thing to make me kind of laugh at, like, don't take this shit so serious. It's just fun. Like, go back to having fun.
Oh yeah, So I have a friend, and he wants to be a guest on our podcast. Chris Santamaria. He's a professional bodybuilder. He's a good friend of mine, but he also coaches. And we were talking about it, and he asked me to come and talk. And I said, a couple of honest things. And of course, when you're honest, sometimes it sparks controversy. And it wasn't intended to be a dig at anyone, but it was more of an eye opener. Was modern day bodybuilding has become such a bizarre, false sense of value, because back in the day when you turned professional, they were only doing 1 to 4 pro cards a year, depending on when this was. And so it was a really big deal if you turned pro. Yes, like for the most part, you got your pro card, you got a supplement contract, you got a magazine contract, and you made a pretty good living. You didn't have to be like, well, you just had to be good. Now, there's a show in New Jersey that gives out 140 pro cards a year. And not to discredit any of the athletes, because they're still great athletes. It's just a big show, and they're just giving out a lot of pro cards. And there's different pro cards because there's different divisions and whatnot. But I said this, and it sparked so much controversy that people lost their mind. I said, as an athlete, and you want, a paid contract from anything, whether supplements, whatever the endorsement is, what value are you presenting to the company? Because if the best thing that you have to offer is the fact that you look good naked, that's not enough value to warrant that company investing in you. And so they're like, well, I'm a pro. Like, cool, congratulations. You're a great athlete. There's no one saying that you're not a great athlete. But what else can you do? And people just lost their mind. Like, look, man, like that's a harsh reality to have. Is if that is the best thing that you got is that you look good naked, you got to go back to the drawing board and you got to reevaluate some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same can be said with powerlifting, right? There's no real pro powerlifters. We're all a bunch of fucking amateurs lifting weights. Like you can be.
What? There's some people that sure like to say that they are on the pro circuits.
Yeah, but what the fuck is that? You got your friends and your people to make federations and put up money for the pro-ams and all this stuff. Like, that's cool, but there's no such thing as a pro powerlifter, right? Like and I like powerlifting. It's a great sport and I really enjoy it, but I like how people get so stuck on a title. Like it just plays into the ego, right? The ego is is the representation of who we are as a person. It's not bad to have. You have to have an ego to a degree to exist on this plane and understand this reality and whatever. But when your ego becomes your identity and you have no concept of self, that's a problem. And then you get stuck in this, well, when I get to this level, I'm going to be something. Like, no, you're somebody now. Like, you're you now. Like, what is that going to do for you when you get there? So going back into that thought of like, it's great you look good naked, but what do you do? What else do you do? Same thing. Like you squat 900 fucking pounds. But what else do you do? Are you a kind person? Do you help other people? Is there anything outside of lifting that you value that you can share with other people? It just baffles me sometimes.
Yeah, I know. And people love having titles. Look at corporate. Like, I gotta specify this. Corporate personal trainers who want to have every certification acronym that they possibly can fathom on that business card. I'm ICE certified. I'm NASM certified. I'm FDA certified. Like, what? How many certifications do you need?
Yeah.
Real estate agents are like that too. That's kind of a weird one. They're like, oh, I'm certified this. I'm like, cool story, bro. Like, I went through the same classes that you did. They're like, well, I'm a broker. Cool, you were a real estate agent for 3 years in the state of California. Blow me. Like, you're not doing anything that's impressive. Like, cool, you did it for a couple years. It doesn't mean you made any money. You just held your license. Like, woohoo.
Yeah. So I think that's something big in lots of areas of the world, but where we get so caught up on the title, and once I make it there, I'm something. We've been taught to go about things the wrong way, in many things. Um, but certifications apparently make you more valuable, which I think is dumb. Like I don't care if you have, you know, a basic certification, but one, you take care of your body, you practice what you're preaching, and then you create your own mission statement around your belief system that you've experienced in training. I think is one of the best things any trainer can do, and you don't need 10 fucking certifications to get there. Now, constant education I think is important. Like, always want to know more and know that you don't know shit, and always want to learn. I think you'll be a fantastic teacher of some sort, be training or, you know, any education.
I have completely fallen in love with learning, and I don't want to watch TV. I don't want to just scroll aimlessly on social media, like, unless it's something that's beneficial or creative. I don't want to just be busy. Showing me that you're like, oh, I work 20 hours a day. That shows me that you're inefficient. I want something to be creative. I want something that's going to be beneficial for me short and long term. I love learning, and I want to learn everything. It's not like, oh, I'm going to bottleneck and I'm only going to learn about pharmacology. I'm only going to learn about, you know, the nutrition breakdown of, you know, whatever it may be. Like, that's cool, but like, I love learning like weird stuff. Like, sometimes like I'll make notes, like I'll be driving, so I'll send myself a text. I'm like, okay, I'm going to shoot myself a text. So when I get in my office and I open up my laptop, I'll get that message. I'll be like, oh yeah, let's look that up. Like, I think one of the more fascinating things that I've learned over the years, just because I love the fact that it's such an intricate system, but making aluminum cans. If you've never seen how aluminum cans are manufactured, it's so cool. It's got to be one of the coolest things. Go watch it on YouTube. It's the coolest 6 minutes you'll see.
I know. It's reminded me of that show on Discovery, I think it was, is How It's Made.
Yeah, they did the thing on aluminum cans. That's what I watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love stuff. I love stuff like that.
Well, that's I'm right there with you. Like, I'm big on documentaries and reading. Like, I try to read at least 2 books a month. Kind of behind right now, but like, and then with fitness and like general, like constantly reading on anything. Like, there's one thing I'm trying to get more into, but the fascial system and like how it anticipates your movement before your muscle turns on. It's really weird. Like, it's really, really fascinating where the fascial tissue is like its own entity within your body, and your muscles are reacting after the fascial tissue. From if I remember reading that correctly, don't quote me on it. I got to go back and do more deep diving on it. But it's like its own symphony, if you will. But like stuff like that, like our body is such a crazy organic machine. Like, to fully understand it is fascinating. And I'm nowhere near that. We're getting there.
In there, I learned something really wild, and then I will share this with you because I thought it was fascinating, mildly. I don't want to say that it was scary, because I just think nature is so wild that you have to be ready for the most unpredictable things. But did you know that when cats purr, they generate a particular frequency that heals? So cats are always jumping and falling from really high shits and whatnot, and so they end up with these tiny bone fractures all the time. And so they'll crawl in their little ball thing and they will purr, and that frequency helps heal their issues, their broken ligaments and things like that. So because animals, cats, dogs, and all sorts of things, they know when you're emotionally sad, when you have trauma, whatever it may be, and they will come and they will do their best to nurture you, to make you feel better and whatnot. So when cats are around you and they feel that, you have a hernia or, whatever it may be, some kind of issue, they will go near wherever that issue is and purr. And if you don't tell them to fuck off and just let them be there, that frequency will aid in expedited recovery. It's fascinating.
That's awesome. Well, you can even dive down. You know, when when people do meditations and they do like the Om sound, that vibration that it creates.
Oh yeah,
Same thing.
yeah, yeah,
Very, very healing frequency as well.
yeah. And I mean that Om thing is wild. The vibrations, frequencies. You know, like I'm drawing a blank on it. What's that thing called where that you hit it with a dong and then you
Tuning fork.
no, not the tuning fork, the wood thing. It's like a wooden, like a kind of looks like a broom handle, but cut. And then you've got the like a glass bowl. You do the wall, wall, wall,
Oh, we
wall
have
thing.
sound bowls.
Yeah.
Bowls.
Yeah. I don't know why my brain was having a hard time with that one, but yeah, that.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, and they're different
Those are
shapes. Represent different frequencies or the size of the volume of the bowl, stuff like that. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if you want to take it to the
that-
next level too, I mean that humming, that vibration, that frequency, does wonders for blowjobs too. So I mean, healing all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Sometimes I have a really hard time keeping a straight face when I say stupid stuff like that. I'm like, okay, don't laugh, and then everyone else laughs. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take yourself too seriously. Got to make jokes. Got to laugh at
No,
yourself.
I'm fully aware that I ride that line between genius and retarded.
Hey, my crayons are sharp every day, baby.
Okay, so the last couple of days we've been doing adult coloring books. So I'm right there.
That's good.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's been my response as of late when people were like, "Oh, how are you? Crayons are sharp," and they're like, "What the fuck did he just say?"
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna start throwing out random shit like that when people ask me how I'm doing.
Yeah. You gotta keep them on their toes.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's more so the confused look, like, or they're questioning, like, did that really just come out of his mouth, or like, did I hear that correctly? That's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah. I love throwing weird little things out there just for shock value, just because I think it's so entertaining. I forget. It's not that I dislike shopping. I just dislike shopping for hours on end. Like, I want to go get what I need and then dip out. Walking aimlessly through different stores is not appealing to me at all. Like, I know that I don't want to exchange time for money. And so I have stuff to do. And so after a while, I just stop caring. And people are going to say, like, hey, how's your day? And me being me, I mask trauma with comedy. And so the other day, someone, I forgot what store we were at, but I was over it, man. It had been like 5 hours. And I was like, I'm done. My feet hurt, my back hurts, my attitude is gone, and I don't care anymore. And so I was, I'm dancing in the corner by myself, just trying to keep myself entertained. And someone walked by, they're like, how you doing today? And I just blurted out. I was like, I learned something today. Did you know that it's not racist if it's true? And just watch people emotionally crumble. And then I just kept dancing. And I was doing the robot totally by myself. And I was like, go away, weird person.
Nice. You matched the weirdness with weirdness.
Oh, yeah. You got to have full commitment.
Yeah. I just heard this. I can't remember where. Maybe it was probably social media of some sort. But it said, I read it, and it said, don't be afraid to fart when you pee, because even when it rains, sometimes there's thunder. And it's living in my head now. Oh, I love it. It's great. It's my advice for everyone that's listening.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know who made it, but it's great.
Oh man, so weird.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think that's an episode.
I think so too.
All right, amigo. Until next time.
All right, homie.